Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about how to be happy with less. So you probably know this, but our consumer culture tricks us into thinking that more equals better, and this is because the goal is always profit. So if we think that we'll be happy with more things, then we'll keep buying more things. So naturally, this leads to us trying to make more and more money so we can buy more and more things, which means we have to work harder and harder and harder. But what if there was a way to end that cycle and to just be happy with what you already have, or to even be happy with less? Well, I'm here to tell you that there is. So by the end of this video, you will have some strategies you can use to be happy with less. So have you ever found yourself staring at your open closet, looking at shirt after shirt after shirt, or dress after dress, and you find yourself saying, I have nothing to wear? You don't actually have nothing to wear. The problem is that you have too much to wear. You have too many options. There's actually a name for this, and psychologists call it the paradox of choice, which basically means that the more options we have, the less satisfied we become with whatever we choose, because we're aware of all the other options we could have chosen. So for example, if you're staring at your closet and you see an outfit and you finally pick a top to wear, you're not actually that satisfied with it because you know you have 50 other tops you could have chosen. However, if you only had like 2 tops to choose from and you chose one of them, then you end up more satisfied because there was only one other choice. So I have so many examples from my own life of when I've noticed the paradox of choice. And one recent example that I want to tell you about is when I was recently making the decision to move back to the US. My partner and I were deciding where to live. We both were traveling abroad for a few years, and we knew we wanted to move back to the US, but we had no idea what state we wanted to live in. And deciding where to live is a pretty big deal. It's a pretty big decision to make. And we had a lot of options because we were both working remotely at the time, so we could pretty much live anywhere. We had 50 states to choose from, and yes, we did recognize that we were very privileged to have so many options to decide where to live, but it also made the decision really difficult. And it also meant that once we decided on one, wouldn't we then be thinking about the other 49 we could have chosen? So think about some examples from your own life of when you've had to make a decision, big or small, and you've just had way too many options to choose from. Like for me, if I go to CVS to buy shampoo, there's like 50 options. Or if I go to the grocery store and I'm just trying to decide what cereal to buy, there's like hundreds and hundreds. It makes it really difficult to actually choose one. So what's the solution? How do we reduce our options to increase our happiness and increase our satisfaction? How can we live simpler lives but happier and more fulfilling lives? So from a minimalist perspective, this is basically Marie Kondoing your life, and I've come up with 3 steps to help you do this. So step 1 is to find out what actually makes you happy and do more of it. It might not even be material possessions at all. So for me, I find that I'm happiest when I'm outside playing ultimate frisbee or hanging out with my friends. So if you do think that you're happiest when you're shopping, for example, that's totally fine, but just take a moment and think about, what is it that actually makes you happy? Is it the act of being at the mall with your friends? Is it the act of walking around looking at the fashion? Or is it the act of actually buying clothes that makes you happy? Reflecting on this might make you realize that it's actually not the act of buying clothes that makes you happy, so you can still do these activities without actually buying anything. In the end, you'll be owning less and you'll actually be happier. Step 2 is to look at what you need versus what you want. So maybe you decide that it is the act of buying clothes that makes you happy. That's fine. This is where you have to choose what you need over what you want. Do you really need 5 of the same sweaters? Probably not. So the more you get rid of the excess, the happier you'll be, because then you won't have so many options when it comes to deciding what to wear. In addition to the fact that you'll be saving money, reducing the amount of things you own. Step 3 is to commit. So once you've chosen what makes you happy and gotten rid of what you don't need, commit to what you've chosen. When you make a decision, any decision, like if you're shopping and you decide on a top, or if you're at a restaurant and you decide on a meal, commit to your decision and enjoy it. Don't focus on what you didn't choose or what you're missing out on. Just focus on what you chose, what's right in front of you, and you'll be a lot happier and a lot more satisfied. So looking at the 3 steps I just laid out here, if we look at them in reverse, we can summarize it by saying to commit to what you need that makes you happy. And it's actually kind of a strategy that my partner and I used when we were deciding what state to live in after Laos. So we first thought about it and we were like, okay, we know that living closer to our families will make us happy. Step 1. Step 2, we looked at what we actually need. And my partner's job, his headquarters for his job is based on the East Coast. So we knew it would be a lot easier if he was based on the East Coast. So we said that we needed to be based on the East Coast. We're narrowing it down. And then step 3, we finally decided on Washington, D.C. Once we decided that, we committed to our decision. So instead of focusing on the 49 other states we could have chosen, instead of focusing on the flaws of D.C., we committed to our decision and we started making plans with friends for once we finally moved here. We started making lists of all the fun things we could do once we finally got here. And we've never regretted our decision. We've been really enjoying living here. Despite the quarantine, we did have some time to do things in DC before we had to be in lockdown. But yeah, that's just an example of a big decision we've had to make that we used these 3 strategies and it really helped. So I hope this video was helpful for you in just seeing that it is possible to be happy with less. And not only that, but ironically, we're oftentimes happier when we have less. So thanks so much for watching. Let me know in the comments below, what are you committed to reducing in your life? Are you trying to have less clothes? Are you trying to have less options when you're needing to make a decision about something in particular? Go ahead and let me know below. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already so that you don't miss any videos. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.